Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of the O-Gaming Nation Wars. The 4 countries that will be participating today are, of course, Sweden, Germany, France, and the one and only Ukraine. My name is TotalBiscuit, and joined, in fact, by Sean Day 9 Plott. Good morning.
Oh, top of the morning to you, TotalBiscuit. You know, pretty pleased because these 4 countries are pretty much mainstays in the Starcraft community. I mean,
Yep.
they are reputed to kind of trade off among, the top slots of countries outside Korea, certainly along with China as well. But the lineups are a little bit unusual when you think about the players from Sweden, Germany, and France, Ukraine. Some of the names that are the huge powerhouses are there, but some of them are not.
Yeah, which is a little bit strange, especially when we look at our first matchup, which will in fact be Germany versus Sweden. And the German lineup looks kind of the way that you would expect it to. Maybe missing a couple of the old names, but bringing in some of the new ones, like, say, HeRoMaRinE, who has got an awful lot of hype behind him in the last few months. In fact, is now one of the most popular streamers, which for a European is actually extremely rare, especially considering his age. However,
Yeah.
if we take a look at the Swedish lineup, there are people that are very conspicuous by their absence. Sweden usually a powerhouse, and the team lineup, it's hard for me to say this without sounding insulting, but it's lacking a bit of clout, I've got to say.
Yeah, but it's certainly not lacking in the skill. I mean, it's one of those facts that, Bischu particularly has been an excellent player for an extremely long time.
Yes, he has, yeah.
You normally think of Thorzane, Naniwa, a lot of those mainstays that traveled overseas a lot in the early days. And, Naniwa, of course, considered to be one of the best foreigners, period.
Yes.
But Bishu's always been very, very solid. MorroW's interesting case, given how long he's been playing and training without a lot of really top results. And, of course, Zanster has put up a lot of amazing games at DreamHack. The fact of the matter is, if you don't know these players, don't worry, we'll take care of it. All of them absolutely excellent, have a lot of cool matchups for the day.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. If we want to look at yesterday and you want to look at unknowns, then you look at Ike, who ripped apart several high-profile players, did a really, really great job, and basically single-handedly saved Norway in their first round. And without him, there's no way they would have got through to the playoffs. I mean, it's really that simple. Snoop managed to come through at the end, but Ike was the one who really put on the fantastic performances for Norway there, and he was an unknown, and you might not know much about Zanster. You should know about Bischu and MorroW, because, as you said, they've been around since the dawn of time, really, when it comes to Starcraft 2. Bischu, I think, probably the strongest of those players, but Zanster definitely the up-and-comer, which gives the potential for surprise. And then the team that they're up against is actually kind of a powerhouse, honestly. That being Team Germany, consisting of HeRoMaRinE, Socke, and TLO.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. Yeah, I was talking a little bit about how maybe some of the names aren't the supreme powerhouses of their country, but I do think that these are the 3 top names when you think of Germany. I mean, a player like Hasuabs absolutely deserves to be on there, but when you have 3-person teams, you can't fit every great player. HeRoMaRinE, TLO, Socke, consistent, brilliant, unbelievably excited to see them duke it out today. And, I really think StarCraft 2 is in a particularly exciting spot as well, because you're seeing a lot of these names in the Nation Wars show up in WCS as the big up-and-coming players. Sure, you have a lot of those players from long ago, the players of yore continuing to do well, but brand new players swinging up, and events like these are always a great time to showcase them, just like you were talking about with Ike.
Now, we're going to do some captain's interviews. We're going to do that at the start of the stream, because if you were tuned in yesterday, you'll note the stream went on for about 10 hours. We're going to try and, trim the fat a little bit. And we're going to be joining the call also with the O-Gaming guys, Pomfetude, so expect spontaneous French joining the call right now. Oh, never mind, I was. Try again. I almost had it, and then the button disappeared, so let's try that one again, shall we? There we go. Excellent. Should be joining the call with these guys right now.
Après, niveau Allemagne, Suède, moi là je pense pas ça parce que
laisse passer d'avoir le trio qui est choisi. Les Allemands ont bien voté, ils ont voté utile.
Well, that was a thing. So currently, it looks like the call with the O-Gaming Studio is not operating as it should. There seems to be a problem with it, so we will jump off that and back onto the call with Sean for the time being. And we'll be hopefully going on to a captain's interview very shortly with all of the teams before we actually begin this nation war. That lineup, though, HeRoMaRinE, Socke, TLO, really a powerhouse. Certainly one of the favorites to win, alongside the Ukraine, I think. The two most powerful teams in today's roster. If we have a look at the Ukrainian lineup, you'll see you've got Bly, Demaga, and Cass, which is pretty ridiculous, honestly. It's a very, very strong lineup. Certainly something that should be worrying an awful lot of people if they happen to be going up against it. It is a really, really good lineup. It's as simple as that. Very powerful players on there. The only player I'd maybe say possibly can't carry things anymore would probably be Cass, who has had a fantastic run, but lately he hasn't quite been performing up to the level that we would have expected from somebody like him.
Yeah, but at the same time, Cass has probably more games under his belt than literally anyone else in StarCraft combined. He's like the Jupiter of StarCraft 2 players. He's like 5,000 games a season.
Yeah.
Level prolific.
That's absolutely true. And you're putting into a competition online against players he plays against thousands of times. That does give him a bit of an edge, I've got to say. You're not throwing him in against Koreans, you're throwing him in against the kind of guys that he runs into on EU ladder day after day after day. So I think that gives him a bit of an edge there. Demaga recently comes off a win in the Esports Venture Cup, and he defeated a lot of good players to get there too. Really good to see Demaga back on form. And then Bly, who you can't count out. I mean, this is the same guy that takes maps from Flash and cheeses out Koreans from tournaments and things like that, and is also very, very good in team leagues. His performance in Ace of Team Story Cup was fantastic. If I recall correctly, he all killed Invictus. So, you know, I wouldn't mess around with him.
Yeah, I mean, these are all players who are notably good online, and as a result, I definitely want to say that Ukraine is the favorite for today.
Indeed. All right, we're going to try and do another call with the O Gaming Studio. Here we go. Let's try this one out this time and see whether or not it works out.
Ça veut dire que non.
En tout cas, les deux joueurs sont prêts. Le lobby est prêt. On va jouer sur Daedalus Point.
Ah,
et on a l'appel Skype.
Ah, je change mon pronostic.
Hello.
Tu changes,
tu regardes, ferme ta gueule.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Salut.
Bonne nuit. Hello, The9 and TB, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
So
Looks like you brought a crowd along with you.
There's a little bit of people here in Paris. Let them have a little bit of yeah. They are pretty pumped up for the matches. How are you doing, gentlemen? What do you think of the matches of today?
Well, there's some fantastic matches. The first one's going to be absolutely great. It's a really, really good matchup. I think I'd maybe give probably the edge to Germany on that one. They've got a really strong team, a powerhouse, no weaknesses in there, but I think Sweden can surprise, and I'm looking forward to seeing what France can bring out against the Ukraine.
Yeah, France versus Ukraine is gonna be very tight. We have a lot of hope, but also a lot of fears because the Ukrainian team is very strong. What do you think about the upcoming matches, Sean?
I mean, to be honest, I mean, a lot of people know Todd and Daishi. I'm excited to see Downfall go to town in game, or in set number 1. I mean,
Have you heard about Downfall?
You know, in terms of Downfall, normally we like to say things like, oh, he's relatively unknown, and when we say that, most of the casters still know, most of the players still know, but Downfall literally has like 5 games recorded on Liquipedia. I mean, he has played so few games publicly. I mean, if you can tell us a little bit about Downfall, I would love to hear more.
Well, he's very new to us too. That's why I was asking, because he appeared in the French scene like 2 months ago and showed really good skill. He used to be an active member of the Team Liquid community, but still as a player, he's very new to us. So that's why I was asking your insight on this. We are very impatient to see what he's gonna provide, but as you said, he might do very well, as he might like well just
detonate,
not make it.
You know, at the same time, though, this is, I think, one of the interesting opportunities because a lot of players who do have that experience online need events like this to get their feet wet, to be playing against really good players in that sort of half pressure environment. He still gets to play from home. He still gets that nice, relaxing, ladder experience, but it isn't a really big pressure match. It's a little bit less than at a live event, like if he were in a WCS.
Yeah, but still, it's Nation Wars, and a lot of pressure will be put in the games. Well, thank you very much. Do you have something to say to the meltdown?
Ça va bien?
Well, they have obviously something to say to you.
Sean's on the spot now. He's scared. His French is maybe not up to scratch.
Bonjour, Paris, ça va bien? Oh!
Paris va bien, Paris va bien. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's have good matches, and I hope you have a good time.
Au revoir.
See you.
Ciao.
And now the French community will hate us forever, but never mind.
Oh, dude, the French community is adorable, man. I think, honestly, like, the crowd at Iron Squid 2 has to be the most electrifying crowd I have ever seen walking out onto that stage. Oh my god, the chills.
Absolutely insane. Even just watching that from home was bonkers. I told this story yesterday on stream, but before Iron Squid 1, because myself and Apollo did all the online casting, we went to Paris to meet with Pomfetude, and they were doing a small event there as a test for Iron Squid. And it was like a rock concert. It was in a smaller venue, but it was packed out, and it's not like they had an amazing player lineup. They had basically like Hazawobs and Moman, who was mostly just dancing around on stage and doing things like that. They did some 2v2s and stuff like that, and it was fun to watch. But it was just a party atmosphere, and you do not find that anywhere else.
They're so good at breeding just the most, just insanely passionate fans. It's amazing.
Yep, it's bonkers. We're going to be going to Captain's interview. We're going to start off with Mr. Dario Wunsch, aka TLO for Team Germany. Going into that one right now. Here we go. Dario, good morning. It's actually afternoon over there. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's up?
Not too much. We're just looking at your team lineup. It's a little bit of a powerhouse, so I guess you guys really actually want to win this.
Yeah, I think we have maybe the strongest team actually now that I've went over the Wikipedia article, because we don't have any weak link, I think, in our team, so that's gonna help us a lot.
You think you're stronger than the Ukraine?
I mean, for sure, like
yeah, I think so. HeRoMaRinE has been playing fast, and Kaz hasn't been doing that great anymore. I think we can take out I, and we can also take out Imaga. I'm confident.
Sean, did you have a comment to make on that? Sorry, we had a bit of lag on the call, so we ended up all talking at once.
Yeah, I mean, dark lineups. What do you think is gonna?
All right, never mind. Dario, you still there?
Biggest.
All right. Okay, this call is very clearly not working, so I'm gonna drop out of that. Having a couple of problems on day 9's end by the sounds of it, and I think we'll just get onto the regular call. Just hit back on the call with Sean. There we go. My apologies for that. Not really sure what ended up happening, but I will try rejoining that call again. Sean, we had a little bit of lag on your end, unfortunately. Whatever your question was completely broke up there. Not really sure what's causing that. And that's completely busted. Okay. I think we might have to skip these interviews because this is clearly not going to work out well at the moment. I'm going to recall Sean and get him back on the call, and we can just get back to talking about it. So it looks like these group calls are not working out today.
But don't worry, John, because here's the thing. If I asked Dario what, he thought his greatest strength would be, with his answer, and we're gonna be really, I think, compelling. Dario says to watch for his Zergling control. He says it's going to be inspired by the spirit of July Zerg.
Inspired by the spirit of July Zerg. Well, why don't we go one further than that? He is channeling the spirit of July Zerg. Right.
Yeah, you know, let's go one step further than that. He took a fork and gouged out July Zerg's heart and ate it. And it's actually improving his Zergling control.
It's certainly a possibility. We're going to try the call once more, and if it doesn't work, we're just going to skip out in the interviews today. So, never mind. Apparently, I missed the group call. That's lovely, really. Skype says, hey, yeah, we're going to give you about 3 seconds to answer and then just not let you get on the call, which is just lovely.
Dude, it's like trying to call a crush when you're in 6th grade. It rings twice, and you just hang up, and you're like, all right, I made my attempt for the day, and it didn't pan out. And my heart's racing, man. It's no problem. Skype channels the inner nerd.
Indeed. Just waiting for the admin to call again, and then we will have one last try at the interview with Dario, and if that does not work, then we will not do it. It is as simple as that. I'm actually not sure who the host of the conversation is.
It's okay. We can make up who the host of the conversation is, John.
You know what? I'm just going to call Dario straight up. I'm sorry. I'm skipping the rest of you here.
I dig it.
Oh, you know what? I can add him to this group conversation. Let's do that.
Snazzy.
Let's give that a shot. And hopefully that will work. Dario!
Hey, that sounds a lot better.
It does. I have... The irony is that the admin's name sounds like... It's Stabilo, which sounds a lot like stable, which is clearly not. But never mind. Alright, so Dario, you were in the middle of your answer to your first... Well, actually, I think you answered the first question. We were talking about the Ukraine there. And we just speculated on your greatest strength. Now, Sean claims that you cut out the live heart of July Zerg and ate it, allowing you to take his powers. Is that true?
I think those rumors might be over-exaggerated, but I cannot comment on it.
Wow, I like that. Now, in celebrity culture, we would assume that a dodge is actually a confirmation of truth, and we'd run with it. So given that you've actually slayed at least 1 or 2 pro gamers on your way here, what do you think in a lineup like this, in this sort of matchup? What is a big surprise strength that your team's going to have?
Well, I think our strength is just our stability. We don't have any weak link in our team. I think everybody has like a similar skill level, so it's not gonna you're not gonna have to rely on somebody having a good day, or if somebody has a bad day, it's not not gonna be our downfall either. So that's gonna guarantee a very stable performance throughout the tournament, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looking at the lineups, that sort of stability echoes through. But what about on the weakness side? What's the biggest thing that you're worried about?
No, I'm not too worried about anything, to be honest.
What about if they find the body?
I don't think that's gonna happen. First of all, there would need to be a body, of course.
Wow.
And second of all, if there would be a body, of course, as we learned from Breaking Bad, you just dissolve it in acid, and there is no body in the end.
Oh my god, spoilers!
Oh my god, spoilers. Breaking Bad is awesome. Spoiled.
Yeah, anyway, but I think France is going to be our biggest... I think that the biggest threat, actually, to be honest.
Really?
Daishi's playing... Yeah, because Daishi is playing really well at the moment, and Todd is not too bad either. So I think you're going to take out Sweden pretty easy. And then there's a good chance that France is going to beat Ukraine, because Daishi has such a good CVT that has a good chance taking out Imaga and Pai.
Ah, I'm interested to hear that. That's... I think a lot of people would have said that France is one of the weakest teams in the lineup today, so we'll see whether or not that ends up being the case, because yesterday people were totally wrong when they said Norway would get flattened, and also totally wrong when they said Spain would do incredibly well, because they really didn't. So I am really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. If you get to the finals, which of course you will, then which team would you want to face out of pride, and which team would you want to face because you have the best chance of beating them?
Looking at it, I think... Well, I would like to avoid Norway, because I don't want to have any liquid team kills even in
Oh,
Nation
okay,
Wars.
all right.
So yeah, I would definitely prefer to take on Russia.
Russia. Okay, fair enough.
And it's it's an old narrative also.
Yeah, I can't recall that going too well for you last time. I'm not sure you want to repeat that.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna have too much on in winter this time, so.
Indeed. One does never invade Russia in winter. Not a very good idea. All right, Dario. Thank you very much for your time, as always, and best of luck in the series.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good cast.
I certainly hope
Oh,
so.
thank you. Wow, that's a really generous thing to say. Like, players never say that.
No, they don't. It's
Wow.
like, have a terrible cast, you overblown, pompous windbag. That's what I think in my head,
Yeah.
anyway. It's,
Hmm.
maybe.
Oh, I'm being called by the French now, so I'm gonna have to excuse myself.
Well,
All right.
well, good luck in that interview, man. I hope
Indeed.
it goes great.
There's a lot of
Thank you.
people there. They might shout at you, so just don't be scared, okay?
It's okay.
Good. All right, there you go. The one and only Dario Wunsch, aka TLO from Team Liquid, who is the captain of the German team. And we will be talking to the Swedes next, I believe.
Ah, most excellent. Yeah, because, I mean, I definitely want to get a sense of how Sweden's approaching this. I mean, so much of a nation war event is just knowing that your fundamentals and your basic gameplay is really, really, really solid. And when you have a player like Naniwa on the team, for a skill level bar, that adds so much comfort, where you think, okay, I'm going to win this game, but if I don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a huge deal if I lose, because we have, this huge strength behind us.
That is
Hello,
very true.
guys.
All right, hey, this is, of course, Wake, the manager of the Swedish team. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's a
So-
pleasure to be here.
For the most part, these teams are being managed and captained by players. So, what's different with Sweden?
Well, it was very simple. We wanted to take it to the next level and have an actual manager handling the team so the players could focus on the actual matches. So I've been doing all the coordination between the tournament organization and doing basically all the paper business, so to speak.
Ah, okay, fair enough. All that dirty esports money that's being funneled into the team right now, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. It's money laundering all the way, man.
Heard it here first, folks. There we go. Money laundering all the way in that
I'm
Swedish.
just kidding, guys. Don't call my sponsors.
You see, now this is the time when you say, which happened to be.
Yeah, exactly. Which happened to be.
You missed
I'm
an
not
opportunity
working
there,
for
man.
Mouse Sports as well.
Get that ROI out. Get it out.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, I won't do any sponsor shoutouts in your stream. But have you tried the new BenQ screen?
I actually used two BenQ 2420 XTs, so just making that as a
Excellent
point.
choice, man.
Yeah, gotta love that 120 hertz. It's absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's beautiful. But I reckon we're not here to talk screens, guys.
No, absolutely not. But if they do want to sponsor a Korean team like Axiom, then of course they're more than welcome to do so. We'd absolutely love to do that. Anyway, now I would be amiss, Wake, if I were not to talk about your lineup, because there were definitely some changes and there was also some turmoil leading up to this particular tournament. When it came down to getting the players that you wanted, there was a bit of disagreement between the players as to who would come onto the team. And then we end up with a team that is actually lacking in the bigger names that I think you would expect from Sweden. So can you explain in your own words how everything went down?
I think Nanova posted a great blog about this in English. It was basically like I wanted to go for the strongest lineup. I contacted a lot of big Swedish names and a lot of them didn't come back to me. I got Nanova on the team, but he didn't really come to an agreement with one of the players on the team, so I had to make some changes for the lineup, and then there's a lot of drama surrounding that, the fact that I switched out a player for Nanova. But then again, I feel like he's the world's best foreigner, in my opinion.
I
of
wouldn't
course.
disagree with that. His results very clearly indicate that he is.
Yeah. But I got a lot of criticism because I kind of let him shows that he would replace another player.
Right.
So there was a lot of unnecessary drama behind that, and he was at that moment he was negotiating and stuff with his team. He was practicing for upcoming tournaments. Like, he didn't want this unnecessary drama, so he wanted to move away from it, and I completely understand him on that point. So one night he just came to me and said, I'm sorry, Wake, but I can't participate in the team anymore, which led to yet another change in the lineup. So I brought on Bischu as the replacement.
Fair enough. Well, it's unfortunate that it went down that way, and obviously people are disappointed by that, and hopefully we will not see a repeat of that in the future. That's certainly not anything that anyone should enjoy, and we definitely don't want to see any more of that. But going on to your current lineup right now, so you have Bischu, who has been a strong player since 2010. You know, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
He can take games from Koreans, he can take series from Koreans, and he punches, I think, way above his weight when it comes to foreigners. And then, of course, you have MorroW, who was one of the originals. He was very successful in early Wings of Liberty, winning an IEM, of course, very infamous IEM. But then
in the name of mouse sports, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. And then he started to fall off a little bit. He also started to race pick a little bit in certain matchups because he switched to Zerg, but then he hated ZVZ, so he played Terran versus Zerg. But his results haven't really been there since, so do you think that picking MorroW for the team was maybe a risk, or do you think he can perform today?
Considering the fact he's played Terran for over a year, I have a lot of confidence in MorroW. So I'm not worried at all. I have confidence in my lineup. We're going up against Germany, which I deem is the strongest team in this group overall. I mean, they have an all-around solid lineup. I mean, I coach HeRoMaRinE, for example. I know how good it is. And I've seen we've faced off like in team leagues and clan wars. We played, for example, Socke and or not in team leagues. Socke doesn't really have a team to back me up there. But for TLO, for example, I've seen how good he is. So I know what I'm going up against, and if we manage to beat Germany, then I think we can go a far way. If we get defeated by Germany, it's not going to be the biggest deal because they have such a strong lineup, but I have all the confidence in my guys, at least. That's why I picked them.
Fair enough. Now, just one last question. Can you explain to the audience basically who Zanster is? Because a lot of the foreign fans don't really know. He is certainly a younger player. He currently plays for the Fnatic Academy. So, why choose Zanster?
Zanster is actually ranked the second highest Swede in Sweden. He's considered the second highest Swede by many in Sweden. He's had a great results in 2013. He has recently qualified for WCS. He came second in place for a Swedish-only tournament, losing only to Naniva. So it tells fair bit about him. He's been climbing a lot. He's been doing good results overall. I mean, he's the next generation of Sweden, basically.
All right, fantastic. Okay, Wake, thank you very much for your time, and we'll be going on to the next captain's interview shortly. Best of luck to your team in the upcoming match.
Thank you, man. Pleasure to talk to you guys, and have a great day.
All right, there you go, folks, the manager of the Swedish team. I think that's the only team that actually has a manager, so as usual, Sweden leading the way.
Oh, of course. I mean, Sweden's legacy in esports is, I mean, it's really only surpassed by Korea in a lot of ways. I mean, perhaps China's the only other country that can claim as much awesomeness and legacy as Sweden can. I mean, the fact that, you know, there's government-sponsored events, it's been on national TV for so long. There's team houses that have, you know, come and gone there long before other countries. So, I mean, really, really, really excited to see Zanster play because, as Wake says, he's been putting up fantastic results. Having really any success in just the environment of Sweden is so hard. So really cool to see that.
Sweden is pretty brutal in that respect. They are a really, really tough country to compete in. And frankly, they have a fantastic esports scene. Way more so than many countries. They are extremely well established. Now, I would love to bring you Le Todd, but he is refusing my contact request, so...
Unbelievable.
God damn it, Todd. Sean, perhaps you have him on the contact list.
You know what? Let me just drag him right on in.
Yeah. I actually sent him a contact request months ago, and he never accepted it, and I took personal offense to that, so I'm going to ask him about that in the interview.
Oh, unbelievable. Wow. Let's see.
I think I just accidentally hung up on him. Nope. Nope.
Oh, that's
failed.
right. You need to be specific friends.
Apparently. Otherwise, that will not work out. So we're working on that. Todd is not being friendly today.
Or maybe he's actually in the interview on the French stream. We don't know.
It is a possibility. I was told by the admin that he's not. And there we go. Todd, welcome.
Hello.
Why didn't you add my contact request, Todd? Don't you love me anymore?
I didn't get any.
Excuses.
You blocked me,
excuses.
didn't you?
I didn't block you. Why would I block you, Todd?
Dude, yeah, TotalBiscuit
You tell me.
sent the friend request and then he blocked. And then he went to his diary and been like, I love you, Todd.
You're still sore about that Star Strikers tournament.
No.
Maybe you're still sore about the Star Strikers tournament we lost in.
Oh, that was a bad and grim day for us all. I know that, but the last thing we need to do is give DJ Wheat more confidence. Anyway, Todd, going into this tournament, we've actually heard some interesting things. Some of the fans have said that the French team is one of the weaker in the lineup, but the players are actually saying, no. France is actually looking really strong. So, can you explain a little bit about your picks for the French team?
There was a vote, basically, for all the teams, and for France, it was a little bit weird because they wanted to put me and Daishi in there and a few players from a tournament that was run by O Gaming TV, which is called Underdogs, in which Chubbs, a French Protoss that's not very well known, Downfall and somebody else were in. And since Downfall won the last one, they basically voted for him the most, and he's the one who qualified as a third player for the French team. He's not very well known, but he's a very good player. I believe he's Grandmaster on the European ladder, and even though he's not famous yet, this guy is definitely one of the guys people should look out for.
Yeah,
what is it about him?
Say again?
What is it about him, if I may ask? What makes Downfall, a really up-and-coming exceptional player? Because, I mean, we have players like Zanster and HeRoMaRinE who are, doing really amazing things as of late, and Downfall has probably the least, notable results of anyone in the Nation Wars.
Yeah, I guess he cannot be rated as high as these guys you just mentioned just yet, but I guess he's a complete enigma for a lot of players in this tournament, because unlike the guys you just mentioned, he hasn't been in many tournaments, but the one he's been in, he's done fairly well. But so many people don't know about him, so they might not know about his style as much. And if he's having a good day today, I could see him do some serious damage. It's all gonna come down to that. But he's a guy who's been around for quite some time already, and he's a very solid player. He's not like, in my opinion, he almost never cheeses and stuff. I don't want to reveal too much because our future opponents might be listening too.
So that means he always cheeses.
Oh my god, he's a cheeser.
Let the mind games begin.
Le fromage.
Il joue avec le fromage.
J'adore le fromage. I'm sorry.
By the way, we know how to say fromage. Isn't that cool, Johan?
Figured.
Je suis français.
When I was in France, we did go to a restaurant that did not speak a word of English. I managed to figure out what fish was, so I ate that. It was wonderful.
Okay. What is it?
Le poisson.
Okay. Good. I thought you were gonna say that you forgot, which would have been funny.
Juste orange. But sorry. I need to stop that. I'm glad I didn't say any of that on the stream with the fans in Meltdown, because they just would have shouted at me for that. But alright, Todd, any last things to say to the fans before we kick it off today?
Well, thanks to everybody who tuned in. Obviously, I think it's a great opportunity that we get to represent our homeland here. And yeah, thanks to O Gaming for setting this up, to you guys for casting it, and I hope we're going to have some fun games and everybody's going to have a good time.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Todd, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Todd feeling relatively confident, although probably hates me now more than he ever did.
Well, I just love that, his attitude. And, in that, he's just like, I just hope it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited for the games. And I just hope it's nice. And we're like, so tell us, Todd.
Tell us your
what is
secret.
Downfalls? Yeah. By the way, Todd, fromage.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think like especially the old school Warcraft 3 and Brood War players have all expressed excitement that we're just having another nation war. Idra was waxing lyrical about it on the stream yesterday, multiple times, just saying, "Hey, look, you know, we did nation wars back in Brood War. It was really important for the foreign scene. It's good to see it again." Yeah, and speaking of important, the final player we're going to be doing for the captain's interview, representing the Ukraine, it's the one and only Demaga. Welcome.
Hello guys, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic, Demaga. It is good to hear from you again, and congratulations on your recent win.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So
I was really happy about that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're oh, come on, Demaga. You're not known as a happy player when you win. It's not like we've seen you win before and you've been so pumped about it.
True enough. Yeah, I was like really happy that I won the tournament. I just have my, even though my mood is so good right now, and we are really excited about all these national wars coming in right now.
Some people have said that the Ukrainian team looks like it has the strongest lineup out of any country. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, but we have no Protosses, so it's our weakness. But we have really good skill level players, so it's good.
We don't have a Protoss. Oh dear.
Well, I mean, can any of your players switch to Protoss at the last second and pull off a win?
Probably.
I mean, it worked really well for show, so I don't see why not.
Damn, nice.
Let's just get emails from Team Properties Manager. It's like, we feel your negativity is unwarranted. It's like...
You know, Demaga, I did want to ask that, you know, like, certainly you've had a lot of success online and on live tournaments. Bly and Koss have been performing, you know, decently online as of late, but have been sort of struggling in a lot of the big live events. What do you feel about their skill level going into this? Particularly Koss, who's known as the most prolific StarCraft 2 player ever. He does nothing but play StarCraft 2. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, I think problem of Koss is like his mindset. This is his biggest problem and biggest issue. But I hope I will try to motivate him as much as possible. And it's like still online tournament, so I think it's a play on our favor. Especially like Blyce, he's also very important in all-ins, you know, and he's doing this very good. And this is best of one all kills format, so I think it can be really good for Ukraine.
Bly is pretty good at all-inning people. I'll give him all the credit for that. As he showed that in Ace of Team Story Cup. It's like, oh, you know what? We really need a team all-in. Let's send out Bly. And it worked out really well. And now the Chinese hate him because he obliterated Invictus Gaming by doing that. So, yeah, it's good to have a player like that in a team lineup, I think. Demaga, we're going to have to, unfortunately, let you go because we do have to go into the game. But Ed, you got any last words for the fans before you start?
Yeah, just enjoy the show, guys. See you.
Thank you very much, Demaga, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Alright, the French are eager to begin, so we should do just that. We are getting in the first game right here. It's going to be on Daedalus Point, and there's a Zerg player involved. That's always good. That's always good. So let's see how well this map works out. What do you think to Daedalus Point, Sean? Because it's something that has come up an awful lot lately in discussion, particularly seeing how it went down in Code A. Do you feel that for the ZVT matchup, it's a reasonable map? Because it seems like Protoss are struggling on it.
Well, I mean, I'm the sort of person who wants to maintain skepticism about Daedalus Point for at least another month or two. You know, because it is brand new. It's one of the newest maps out there, and it's not one of the maps that has been sort of, you know, tested in GSL and then sort of incorporated in a little bit later. It kind of just sprung up onto the scene all of a sudden. The big concerns that a lot of players will have on it are the space in the chokes, particularly the natural ramp, is really big. Your third base doesn't really have a choke at all. It's just big, wide open space. And with that huge amount of space, we see a lot of comfort with Zergs in general. We do see Terrans also, once they get powered up, have a good time. So in my eyes, it's all about whether HeRoMaRinE can survive a lot of the early game antics from Zanster.
Well, I guess we're going to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, Daedalus point into your southeast position for Team Germany. In the blue trunks playing Terran, it is Minor Lag and also Mousesport's HeRoMaRinE. Versus his opponent to the northwest position for Team Sweden. In the red trunks from the Fnatic Academy playing Zerg, it is Zanster.
You know, I will say, it's kind of funny, like right now the Overlord that's floating over the ramp for Zanster, that is one of the big reasons why people really enjoy playing Zerg on this map, because you don't have to worry about a lot of space and choke control at those sorts of entrances. You generally rely on defense much closer to the hatchery, so that gigantic space is the biggest problem for a player like HeRoMaRinE here. So I would honestly think that virtually 100% of the time Terran is going to want to be going for like Reaper into Hellion, anything with fast units.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. And HeRoMaRinE is a very aggressive player, and he does so very, very well. He's recently come to popularity, I think, after winning a couple of European Cups and streaming prolifically. He streams a lot, and he does a very good job at that. It's actually quite hard, I feel, for a lot of European players to really break through in the streaming scene. The most popular streamers are almost always American or Canadian, but HeRoMaRinE is actually pulling in quite the crowd these days.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a hard player not to like, because he works so hard. He's an unbelievably hard worker who had an unbelievably hard scene to succeed in. I mean, in Germany, EPS is a real staple there, where you had players like Socke and Hasuabs literally trading in the finals for years. And then HeRoMaRinE comes along and starts to have a ton of success on that circuit. And I really think that that's been a really big foundation for his success. His ability to train in a very competitive, very serious environment without some of the huge Korean names or huge foreigner names to knock him out early. So excited to see him have leveled up so much.
Indeed. Alright, well, we see that we've got the barracks and gas on 13, so no Reaper or anything along those lines. HeRoMaRinE actually building 2 Marines. No sign of a... There's the reactor going down. So we'll most likely see a standard transition out of this into Hellion just for contain and maybe a little bit of harass here.
Yeah, and I mean, standard, definitely the word to describe, you know, the usual Hellion type stuff, the expand type stuff, but I haven't seen a player do this particular build in as long as I can remember. It's almost always Command Center first, or Reaper into Hellion, but this is a little unusual to see these 2 Marines out at this early stage. The Hellions will be coming out a touch faster, though.
What do you think the reasoning behind that build is? Obviously, HeRoMaRinE knows what he's doing, but what does that get him? What does it gain him?
I mean, I genuinely think it's just with spaces this huge, having Hellions out, you just feel so much more comfortable. You have so much more ability to do things. And the Zerglings move in, and now we're going to see why those early Hellions are going to be so important.
The target fire from HeRoMaRinE is absolutely fantastic, though. That was really good. He did lose a Marine, but it was against 4 Zerglings, so you can't really blame him. That was a nice piece of control there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the reasons why HeRoMaRinE has his name. We see also that the existence of these 2 Marines can help deny scouting, and the Overlord moving in is really just going to be surprised to see Hellions out this fast and in this way.
Alrighty, 4 of them on the field here. It's going to give him significant control. Zanster does have 3 queens. He's building a 4th there, which is to be expected. He is only sitting on 1 gas and he's not mining from it. He's now gone back into gas, but he did it initially to get speed.
Wow, wait, 5 queens for Zanster. I mean, even though it seems like a little bit excessive, it makes sense. It's the same reason why you want Hellions. You need creep to cover the space.
I think so. And especially if you see that many Hellions initially, you've been thinking, alright, well, you know what? Might need some queens to push this back. I need more queens so I can put down more creep tumors to make sure these Hellions can't deny it.
Look in the main base of HeRoMaRinE.
There's another factory.
He's going for the double-double.
Oh, wow. I've got to say, that is something I haven't seen in ages. Is he... I wonder if... Yeah, he's actually going to go for 4 Hellions at a time.
This is purely a This is brilliant. This is a map-specific move. It's something that we saw a lot in the olden days. Nowadays, because queens are so strong and because spine crawlers are often up in good positions, players don't do it. But look at the gigantic spaces on this map. This is the perfect choice. Surprise someone with a cheese.
Yeah, it'll work really, really well here, I think. He's only shown 4 Hellions. He's denied that scouting really nicely. Zanster does have an Overlord hanging around the natural, but that's not really going to help too much. Wow, HeRoMaRinE building the Great Wall of Supply Depots right here. And just to make sure that he doesn't have any run-bys, but 12 Hellions. Gonna be 16 Hellions.
God, he is waiting so long for this. This is such a cool play. I mean, even preparing for the transition, not messing around, not gonna go all in with this. Treating it as a very big transition, but here comes the Zerglings from Zanster, picking off a couple of those Hellions, but will they see the huge flood?
I think you might... Oh, he's seen it now. All right, well, the Baneling Nest immediately is the response to this, but we're going to need to see Warloffs. We're going to need to see something. HeRoMaRinE going right into the expansion with this. He has so many Hellions. The entire drone line will die here, almost assuredly. Here comes the barbecue. All the Lings go down completely.
Oh my God.
This is ridiculous.
Fantastic splitting by Zanster, but there's only so much you can do when there's 11 Hellions in your main base. Zerglings being rallied out, and HeRoMaRinE is already preparing the transition to Marines.
Yes, he is, and he's still doing great damage with this. There's still 15 Hellions on the board. In fact, he's still building them, saying, hang on a minute, I've killed most of the queens. You don't have any roaches. You don't have any spine crawlers. You're just building lings. I can handle this if I keep flooding Hellions. And he's right. He's already killed 23 workers.
Jeez, there's almost no coming back for Zanster at this point, but he does have the advantage of already having a done layer.
GG.
Nope, good game. Doesn't even want to try to go for the later period.
I don't blame him.
Great meta play from HeRoMaRinE. Most players are still doing the standard-ish stuff on this kind of map. They're not going for something like big roach play. And HeRoMaRiNE's saying, all right, well, I'll just accept that risk and go mass Hellion on a big wide open map.
Did the job. It absolutely worked out, and Zanster did not see that coming in a million years. He GG's out just the right time before his main drone line gets roasted within a matter of a couple of seconds. Because, you know, no Zerg player really wants to see that. It's demoralizing. I personally love to see it. It was the same thing that happened when I saw 23 Mutalisks going up in smoke yesterday. Yeah, that was just beautiful to me, personally, but... yeah, I don't blame him for GGing out there, because he just got smacked with the build order counter very, very hard.
And now at this point, it's easy to look at the lineup and say, okay, well, MorroW and Bischu, those are the more notable players. So now it's time for Sweden to bring out the big guns. But I do think that Zanster is at the very least, the second best player on the Swedish team right now for Nation Wars. So I think that was a big blow to the start off for Sweden. I mean, just a fantastic play by HeRoMaRinE. And it's just like TLO said, his team has a lot of confidence in HeRoMaRinE.
And they should, yeah. If he's that smart, he doesn't just play straight up, he plays the map, and he plays the opponent, which is just ridiculously important, and we don't see enough players do that. Some players get by just purely on their mechanics, but if you want to be a truly great player, you've also got to have the smarts. You've got to be willing to do things which are map-specific, and you have got to do things which will catch your opponent off guard instead of just playing straight up all the time. That worked out really, really well for HeRoMaRinE, I gotta say, and it's a really hard decision from here, because Zanster not picking up that first map means that you've got MorroW and Bischu remaining. Now, in this situation, I'd probably send Bischu out against HeRoMaRinE. I think he's got the best shot of beating him, but the problem is you then have to have Bischu deal with 2 other really strong players from Germany. So it's not like you get to knock out their star player and say, all right, we've got an easy ride from here, because you don't. You've got to deal with TLO after that, and also, of course, with Socke, both of whom are really, really good.
Yeah, you know, now that I think of it, the more we're talking about the lineup, man, Germany does have a really strong lineup. That must feel very bad.
Yeah, losing the first map against a team like that is pretty grim. I mean, it's about as bad as losing the first map against Russia or the Ukraine or anything like that. And they're going to go with Bischu, which I think is probably the right call here.
For sure.
Right now, looking at HeRoMaRiNE's form, I can see a situation where MorroW beats him, but it seems like it's in HeRoMaRiNE's favor. Bischu, on the other hand, I think much more even matchup. Obviously, Protoss, so he's got that going for him. And he is... I'm sorry. The
Oh,
last couple of days.
You couldn't help it. You know,
I tried to bait Greg into some of it yesterday, and he definitely avoided it. He's actually getting really good at being diplomatic.
Well, I mean, at the same time, as much as you might want to talk about diplomacy, at the peak of just disappointment in the design for Protoss, of its, quote, imbalance, Protoss suddenly just lost everything in Pro League. And
Yes, they
like,
did. And are you playing Fantasy Pro League right now?
I'm not. I actually am not because the emotional highs and lows are really hard to handle.
I absolutely agree. I picked CJ Entus. I picked CJ Entus, John.
Oh God, you know,
Effort. 4 Protoss.
Effort won a Brood War League, so you know, let's go Entus. so I mean, I can relate to that. I understand, but you know what I have the advantage of doing is simply watching objectively, relaxedly, because let me tell you something. Once upon a time, there was a friend of mine who put a lot of the top Protosses on his Fantasy Pro League. And he's just devolved into this, like...
That sounds like me. I picked 4 Protoss for my Fantasy Pro League lineup, and I am now sorely regretting it. Only Stats is doing work for me right now. Everyone else is just a gigantic disappointment. Where's Beyond gone? Will someone explain to me why Beyond has disappeared? I picked him initially. I thought, alright, Beyond's a sure fit. You know, he's a fantastic player. He just doesn't show up. Nobody knows where he is.
We're off by 1 letter.
I should have gone BL. Absolutely should have gone BL, because holy crap.
Dude, he just... He has like one of those credit card machines, and he just puts faces in it, and just like... chops him off, man. Oh, Habitation Station for a Terran vs. Protoss.
Alright.
Ooh. You know, as much as I've been enjoying talking about Fantasy Pro League, and as much as people like to talk about how scripted Terran vs. Protoss generally looks, Habitation Station breaks that script, all because of that juicy gold base. Normally, you want to be a little careful taking it, but this is an opportunity to do some very odd Tempest-based strategies, which sounds psychotic, but then you watch SOS do it a couple times against Terran, and you start to actually appreciate the fact that you can defend your gold, attack his gold, attack his main. I mean, I do think that there's a lot of very clever air things that can happen on this map.
I think so, and I think TVP is a particularly cool matchup to have on here. Protoss have been complaining about ZVP on this match, although I've got to say that it seems like lately, seeing a few more matches on this map, maybe their concern was a little unfounded. They're saying, oh, well, the gold base, very advantageous for the Zerg, but holding it against air is very, very difficult. So I don't necessarily know if it's actually as bad as they're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, on new maps, everything will shift in big, strong movements. You're going to start off going, whoa, Protoss is so hard. Few months pass, Protoss is so good, etc. And now we no longer... Oh.
Well,
looks like
that was a short match. Okay, 13 seconds, and the Terran player already gives up against the Protoss. That's going to be a new record, but...
Well played, good game.
Yeah, alright. Well, we'll have to remake the game, folks. Looks like there was a little bit of a problem there, but we will be back in momentarily. As you were saying, sorry about Habitation Station there.
Oh yeah, well I mean, new maps will always kind of have this back and forth trend, because first someone will come up with a strategy that works and no one will be able to break it. And then the instant that strategy is broken, now, you know, that's the new best strategy, and this just continues until eventually things get a little more even and people are going for long-term good play based off those starting strategies, as opposed to just immediately winning with it.
Yeah, and I think Habitation Station's a really fun map. We've seen a lot of good games on it. We also saw a terrible game on it, which was Mana last night versus Snoot, which almost turned into another fire cake versus Mana, let me put it that way, but Mana unfortunately falling down again to Swarm Host play. It ended up being... It was definitely a hell of a lot better game than the fire cake game, but it seems like Protoss are having trouble with the Swarm Host strategy. Mana almost had it. He understood, alright, well, okay, you're in one place, so I should be in another. and then he decided fighting head-on was a good idea. And it clearly
yeah.
wasn't. You know, he didn't have that magic number of Colossus that is enough to kill all of the Locusts before they actually get in fire range. So it was a
Yeah.
slow, torturous death over the course of 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the sort of thing that I think is really just healthy and interesting for the development of the matchup, to have those sorts of funky maps with those funky games. You know, you get it out of your system, and then you get to see the really cool stuff. Again, SOS also used Tempest against Zerg
Three
on
Base
this
Tempest
map.
was wonderful. That was really fun. I mean, we really enjoyed watching that, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it takes a player like SOS to evaluate a map properly, because you think about what it means to be good with a strategy on a map. Let's take, you know, Daybreak, a map that people played a ton of games on.
Yeah.
The strategy that you've played at least 500 times on that map. And then a new map comes out. Your brain doesn't want to begin anew. It wants to say, okay, how do I take these 500 games of practice and translate it in a useful way to this map? So that's where we see those repetition of strategies come from, where you'll just see someone do their regular 3-base build on Habitation Station and say, well, I have a gold, so I guess I can add 2 more gateways and do the same thing. But I'm hoping we get a chance to see some really some swanky new builds out of Bischu and HeRoMaRinE for that matter on this map.
Yeah, I hope so. It seems like Habitation Station is developing really nicely, whereas Daedalus Point, as we just saw, actually is kind of developing in a cool way. But when it came to Code A, we saw a lot of Protoss just say, screw it. A lot of one base, a lot of cheese, a lot of proxy stuff, and it worked for the first few games, and then it started falling to pieces as Zerg figured out, oh, the Protoss are doing this. Alright, okay. I've just got to be a little bit more careful. But I think Habitation Station is maybe playing out a little bit better in terms of map development, and we are getting some fun matches on it, so...
Oh, yeah. For sure, for sure.
Alright,
Games now get kicked off.
Yep, let's hope that HeRoMaRinE doesn't get kicked out. Anos needs to go away now. He's actually lagging an awful lot, unfortunately.
Some people get DDoSed, but Nation Wars get Anosed. Oh. I joked a joke.
Congratulations. That was good. I'll give you credit for that one.
Thank you. Coffee's kicking in. TotalBiscuit, introduce our players.
I will do just that. As it turns out, I accidentally disabled the sound in the game, which is like, this is curiously quiet map. Anyway, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, to the northeast position of Habitation Station, the second player out of the gate for Team Sweden. In the yellow trunks, playing Protoss, it is Bischu. Versus his opponent to the northwest position, that just cheesed the living hell out of some Zerg. Let's see if he can do it again here, or maybe he'll just play straight up. He's good enough to do both. In the red trunks, playing Terran. For Team Germany, Mouse Sports HeRoMaRinE.
So far, it looks like we will not be seeing the cheeses of Pro League appear up on this map at all yet. I mean,
would buy that as a gift for someone. You know, it just comes in a little basket. It's called the cheeses of Pro League. You have 5 different kinds.
And you open it up and it's empty, and all of a sudden there's a bunker behind you. It's like man. Oh my god, we're getting bonked. Now Bischu's doing an interesting selection. He's going for no, he's not. I misread everything that's going on. I thought that he was going to be going for Nexus first, but I was over-evaluating the delay because of the lag. So it looks like we're seeing an absolutely standard Gateway first build. We're seeing a Barracks first build from HeRoMaRinE. And, you know, generally I would expect HeRoMaRinE to have gassed already. It's so typical to go for Command Center first if you can, or a gas-focused build. But, you know, HeRoMaRinE is going Barracks, expand, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like there's some issues with the computers. They're actually based out of Meltdown today, and it seems like, well, it's melting down, so that's not ideal. Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait on that, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but they need to make sure their computers are working. It is their tournament, so we kind of have to follow their lead on that. It's a bit of a priority that the tournament organizers also get to cast their own tournament.
It happens.
It does, yeah. We'll give them a minute, and if they haven't fixed it by then, we'll go to a quick break, and then we'll resume this game. as we thankfully now have the ability to do. The players have not lagged out, so you don't have to worry too much about that, and even if they had, we can resume from this kind of position. And there's not really much to say in the first 1 minute 40 seconds of a Terran versus Protoss here on the one and only Habitation Station, but never mind.
Well, I mean, we can talk about how cool it would be to pull the Marine King Prime lift off at the start of your game and land at the gold.
Yes, we can do that. You know, I've actually pulled that several times on ladder, and it has a 100% win ratio.
Oh, well, that must mean it's 100% the right thing to do.
Yeah, I would agree so. I was using the TLO strategy. Wonderful strategy. You remember that. You didn't cast the games where he did that, but I think you may have done a daily on it. Mega Racks, the 1 base 6 racks, all Marine.
Oh, yeah, I know this thing. You know, like, a lot of times when I see the old dailies and the old strategies that I, like, used to talk about being all good and stuff, I actually, like, feel embarrassed. I feel, because I'm saying things like, now, here's a little tricky strategy. You're going to pretend to early expand. Then you just build 6 barracks and you kill them with Marines. Isn't that clever? And, like, the games back then would actually turn into some interesting, epic back and forths. But nowadays, you know, queens are good enough to just handle any amount of Marines if you can just control them properly. But back then, queens only had 3 range.
That is true. They were absolutely dreadful, and now they're not. But I would absolutely love to see a pro pull that. I don't think they necessarily could. I think you've got to rely on terrible scouting from Silver League or Gold League players to get away with 1 base, float to the gold, 6 racks all in. But when you pull it off and you land 22 Marines on their doorstep, it is damn satisfying.
You know, I wonder, okay, so, you know, TotalBiscuit, I know that if you weren't doing commentary, you'd be a professional StarCraft player. So, you know, I wanted to get some of your feedback on this. If you do go for, like, a 6 racks play, and it doesn't win immediately, what's the best follow-up? Do you add on 2 more racks because your macro slipped? Like, what's the play?
I think usually you just get supply blocked and complain in all chat. That works fairly well. It's a good strategy. It can give them momentary pause. It also means that since they're tempted to react to you, their overall APM goes down and their macro slips in return. So in the lower leagues, it's a really good strategy. Tend to try and keep your insults quite short, but also very provocative, so they're tempted to type longer sentences in reply.
Oh, that's right. And you know, these are the people that likely can't do touch typing. They need to look at the keyboard and hunt and peck. So, you know, if you can maybe even, like, ask them quiz questions or, like, historical facts and have them, like, verify their knowledge on it, then maybe that's also a good way to get their eyes off the mini-map and the main screen, too.
Indeed, although I think you got to mix some insults in there. So it's like, in
I see.
ancient American history, what was the day, specifically the day and the date, in which I slept with your mother? Just sort of mix in a little bit of ancient history in there, you know. It's a nice double kind of bladed insult, because not only are you sleeping with his mother, which is, of course, you know, a cardinal crime, very, very angry, but it's also totally ancient history, which means his mother's really, really old.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, her first Christmas was the first Christmas, man. She's like a Roman phalanx ancient.
Indeed. Like, in school, she learned hieroglyphics.
Oh, sickest burn. Wow.
List of burn centers in the U.S. being sent out en masse right there.
I know. She used pencil and papyrus to take notes. Oh, sickest burn. Your mother's so old. Your mother's so old, she had a birthday list and a stuff to be buried in my pyramid by my sarcophagus list. Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, sick. Like, she was there when they invented the toothbrush.
But she didn't have any teeth by then because she was so old when they invented the...
Oh, I know she did. Oh man, like she's so old that when she. This is the dumbest thing that we're doing right now.
Should we go to a
Seriously.
break? I think we
No, no,
should go
no,
to a
no.
break.
Listen. No, she's so old that like when she got dentures, even those teeth have fallen out too.
Oh.
Uh, Let's go to a break.
I think the legs have fallen off this joke right now. Let's go to a break, folks. Sorry, they're still having computer problems over at Meltdown. So hopefully that will be sorted out very soon. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. You're watching The Nation Wars, brought to you by O Gaming TV, sponsored by Dailymotion and Numeric. Do not go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going to give it another bash, a good old college try here. It looks like they've sorted out the latency issues.
I think I remember this game.
Was it from ancient history?
Yeah. I think this is the game to decide whether or not they should found France or Sweden first.
That's definitely very important.
Looks like HeRoMaRinE is, he is going one racks expand. We don't see that nearly as often as other things, but it's still reasonably frequent. It's just not reasonably frequent. It happens reasonably often enough against Protoss that it could still be called standard.
Yeah.
Against Zerg, though, definitely not so much.
No, the lack of gas there, you can make it work, certainly. The command center coming down on the lower ground here. You still, more often than not, see that 12-12 Reaper build out there, but HeRoMaRinE does not feel the need to do it. Now, this pylon placement from Bischu, do you read anything into that, or is it just a case of, hey, I'm going to place a pylon over here because I can?
Yeah, it's just generally good, smart placement. I mean, as Protoss, you don't want to have a lot of Artosis pylons around, but early game, there's really no threat of anything getting into your main base and dealing damage. As an added bonus, Bischu can get spotting on this top side, and as an even more added bonus, we have an Oracle.
Indeed, we most likely do. However, it was completely scouted, so Bischu is obviously not afraid of that. He knew it couldn't shut the scout down. I mean, you could say, oh, well, maybe he just won't scout there. But HeRoMaRinE scouting is very good. So he managed to spot that Stargate very, very quickly here. And I have to wonder what will then come out of it. Because, yes, an Oracle makes perfect sense. I mean, with the short rush distance here by air against the Terran player, very, very effective. And HeRoMaRinE, actually, with no gas, might end up suffering from this. But let's see what Bischu decides to build.
He's likely going to go Oracle, expand. It's a really strong way to gain control over the space on the map. And then do something else cute, like maybe go double forge, maybe transition immediately into carriers like an awesome human. But HeRoMaRinE is doing something that is, again, just extremely unusual. He's going 2 racks with double gas instead of doing something like going for the 3rd racks. I mean, this definitely guarantees that he wants to be getting add-ons super fast.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are going to have to recover the replay because, as you probably noticed in the chat, we lost Pomf, and, well, Pomf is one of the main French casters, so losing out on that would not be a good thing. So, we will, unfortunately, have to go to another break as we recover the replay. The plus side is we weren't that far into the game, so it won't actually take that long.
So without any further ado, guys, remember everything that's happened, because you're going to see it at an inevitable point in the future.
Indeed. Alright, okay, we're getting back into this. If they're quick, actually, we might just not even go to a break, because it was only 4 minutes in. Times 8 speed? Yeah, you're going to be there pretty quickly. So if this was a 30-minute game, I'd definitely go to a break while we loaded this. But let's see what happens. If Pomf could get right back in, then we'll be able to go forward. If there's going to be a couple of minutes, then we will take a break. Again, very, very sorry for all of these delays so far. They're obviously entirely outside of our control.
But our ability to be entertaining, no matter what, is entirely within our control, TotalBiscuit.
Indeed, which is why I'm wondering why we're consistently failing at it.
No, what are you talking about? We're amazing. And now, as I say we're amazing, as I reach out to the community for emotional reassurance, I have to wait 6 excruciating minutes for the delay on your stream to catch up.
Again, you can't blame me for that. They said, you gotta put this delay on the stream. Okay, apparently we're joining a different lobby. Never mind. Alright. Let's try that again, shall we?
Again.
Sebastian. Host le game.
Oui, oui, oui.
Indeed.
Le game, le match.
Le jeu. Wait a minute, that's not game. What is game in French?
You know,
In French.
interestingly,
Oh, it is jeu. Yeah.
oh darn, I was gonna be like, well, you know, in French, they actually don't have a word for
fun.
game. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, there's they actually don't have a word for game, fun,
Advance.
or happiness. Yeah, so
Forward.
whoa, whoa.
Hey, we could go in further and get super topical.
Heyo.
They don't have a word for commitment or one wife, for instance.
Ah. That concept doesn't even exist.
No, absolutely not. You know, when you get married, it's just, well, the French really like shiny rings. So they created the concept of marriage in order to exchange them, but it doesn't really go any further than that.
Wow, you know, this reference, I'm like grasping at air.
There's nothing there. There's nothing for you to take. I'm sorry.
I was trying. Oh man, I thought there was like maybe some law that had just been passed that like banned marriage in France or something.
Oh no, I mean the reference was recently the Prime Minister of France has been accused of, well, banging another woman.
Ah.
So that's the reference. But
oh, I see.
I wasn't just randomly saying all the French are horribly unfaithful people. That's like.
Well, I mean, having a president, you know, with another woman is also a very American tradition as well.
That is true. Yeah. Although I've got to say, when it comes to the French and their unfaithfulness, they do tend to pick hotter women for that. Apparently, there's also a threat that I say a threat. What am I talking about? There's rumors that the British Prime Minister may have also done a similar thing, but the woman he apparently did it with was infinitely less attractive than the French one.
Wow, the celebrity culture of modern day. That's
indeed.
We have a leader who's going to try to repair the economy of our, you know, battered country. He's going to try to enact laws that will improve our relationships with one another and the safety of our children. And all media is talking about is like, the girl he slept with, is she hot?
Pretty much.
Is she hot? Wow, she's not hot. Well, he's a bad president.
Yeah. bbc.co.uk/news, and I see most popular from Europe in the last week. And let's see. French First Lady in Paris Hospital. Holland Ducks First Lady question. Holland actress, this being the person he allegedly had an affair with, blocked from post. Actress sues over Holland affair. 4 days of this. 4 days. Oh, man. It's just depressing, really.
Man, yeah. I once upon a time went to CNN just to, like, you know, be a cultured human and see what was going on in the world, and it's just Bullock drops F-bomb at awards show, and then man severs spine in CrossFit accident, and I'm like, well, that's, I mean, that like that's horrible, but that doesn't. Is that news? Like, what's going on in the world?
Apparently, it is now. Unfortunately.
I am the product of a sperm swap. This is on the front page of CNN right now.
Wow. I'm looking at a picture where they took... This is the BBC we're talking about. They took a photo of a gossip magazine. I mean,
oh, nice.
As if you couldn't get any more redundant than a gossip magazine, you take a photo of one. It's apparently the French version of Closer, and the front page is L'amour secret du presidente.
Dude, you know, I will say, I never quite understood when television production met technology, because especially, you know, on the news when they're like, Jensen tweeted a number of vitriolic comments this Tuesday.
God, yeah.
And instead of, like, showing the screenshot of it, they have a camera get really close to a computer screen and just seeing all the interlaced lines
everywhere. It's like...
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, they don't know how to take a screenshot. Oh, Jesus.
There's a lot of that in news, isn't there? It's like they have no idea how to take direct feed from a computer. It's just incredible, really.
Yeah, they have a computer with a person edit, because otherwise there's no human interest in the story.
Sounds about right. Oh, speaking of human interest, we have Habitation Station loading up once again, and I'm very interested to see what our two players get up to, because the Oracle was in production. We are recovering the game at 8 times speed, which means that it shouldn't take too long, and then we should get right back in.
Wow. I mean, given how long we spent on this map, we may as well live there. And it's even called Habitation Station. # dad jokes. Yeah.
You know, I think if there's one invention that I absolutely just hate the existence of in the modern day, it has got to be the hashtag.
Yeah.
It's just disgraceful.
Oh, that count-in.
I love that count-in.
The dopest count-in of all time. Like, there was like a count-in engineer tech who just nailed it.
Yeah, that's all he did for years. He's been working on that one count-in. It did the job. And unfortunately, the spectators missed it because I was too busy configuring the scoreboard. Never mind. Never mind. Hopefully you won't have to see that again. Ooh, Bischu is going to put a second Oracle out here, and he's not going to send his first over just yet. It's a decent move considering HeRoMaRiNE's Marine count. However...
Well, especially, you know, HeRoMaRiNE is trying to get add-ons. And you can obviously tell by how early his double gas is and by the fact he only has 2 barracks. But he can't really afford to get a reactor right now because he needs to have enough Marines to be able to hold off an Oracle threat.
Yeah. So that in turn delays that, which is fantastic. Means the Terran macro will not be as good. 2 Oracles on the way. There are 8 Marines on the field. They're not all in the same place. So it is entirely possible these Oracles could kill absolutely everything. There's no missile turret down. It's now going down, but the Oracles are about to hit the base.
And that amount of Marines can't quite kill that amount of Oracles. So
No, it can't.
HeRoMaRiNE knows it. He's starting to try to kite it. Those Marines do outrange the Oracle, and Bischu actually doesn't control as well as he could have.
That could have definitely been a lot better there from Bischu. He ended up wasting an awful lot of energy. And, of course, DPS just shooting the barracks, which doesn't really do anything. So some damage was certainly done. 5 workers killed and a few Marines. But there is now a missile turret. And another pause from Bischu. Oh.
Bischu asks if this is a slower game speed.
Wow. I don't think it can even reduce the game speed in a resumed replay. It doesn't seem that way.
Well, let's take a look.
Let's keep an eye on that timer in the corner.
Game resumed.
No, it's running that's definitely faster than normal time, so... I mean, yeah, it didn't look slow. No, it's not slow.
Wow, it actually looks a little slow.
Really? You think? Huh.
Wow.
Huh. The Oracles are moving a bit slower than I would have expected them to. I mean, maybe it's just because I feel Oracles are ridiculously fast, but no, the move speed's 4. 4 is faster than that, I think. That's weird.
Yeah, this is not the correct game speed.
But it doesn't seem like it's not real time either.
Yeah,
it's
I think
slightly faster than real time.
The default for resume replay is fast.
Which is ridiculous. Like, there's no way it should ever be that, because the only time you'd ever have to resume a replay would be in a competitive game where they're playing it fastest.
I mean, everything you're saying makes sense, but this is slow.
It does feel slow.
This is exacerbation station, man.
Apparently it is.
Wow.
Yeah, those Oracles do feel like they're moving slower than they should. They almost look like the regular, normal Oracles.
TotalBiscuit, you sound like you're speaking a little slower than you normally do. I mean, are we set to normal speed?
Do you think?
I mean, I feel like this is my normal talking pace.
I can't be certain.
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Well, the Oracles are going in. I guess I'll just speak up my talking just in case. And
well,
Bischu's doing a very passive strategy, just going basically for Phoenix Colossus.
It's a good build. Works really well. Very gym-esque build, certainly. And it does the job. It's very effective, especially against Terran.
Yeah, and of course...
Oh, Bischu. Not paying attention. Losing his observer, his stationary observer, I might add, to a missile turret, which is...
And I mean, given the fact that it's at a slower speed, he had plenty of time to react to that.
Yeah, that's... I'm not entirely convinced that it is at a slower speed. I think, maybe we're just a bit of confirmation bias, possibly, but regardless, yeah, he lost an Oracle, which he lost to Stim Marine, so, I mean, that's reasonably fair, but losing the Observer, there was really no excuse for that. It's quite sloppy.
Well, HeRoMaRinE is continuing to impress me with his ability both to come up with a cute kind of build and also to time these add-ons in this very difficult spot very well. Look at this combat shield timing. 10 more seconds and then it's done, and he might be able to deal some significant damage here.
Alright, he's loading up going into the main. There are actually Phoenixes there already, though. Bischu was somehow absolutely prepared for that, at that exact angle. Maybe it's something he's seen HeRoMaRinE do before.
And it does look like a pretty weak spot, and only now does Bischu actually get 2 more gateways. He's been running on 1 gateway up till now.
Yeah, we saw quite a lot of that from Ike, who went for the very tech-heavy approach in the games yesterday, and it worked out very well for him. But Protoss building less gateways early on, rushing tech more because they feel they can make that happen. HeRoMaRinE stims into a brick wall, which...
That stings hard.
It really, really does. Trying to catch Phoenix is clearly not working out. And a nice little pick-off here for Bischu. Takes out a Viking and then dips out of there and goes into the main as well. Looking for angles, finding them every now and again.
I mean, that's really impressive, just recognition from Bischu. Normally, whenever a player sees a bunker at all, they immediately recoil and pull away. Bischu being really crisp with that timing. And, we're starting to see Bischu's build really come together now. We talked about how strong Air was in the form of big units like the Tempest, but now in little units like the Phoenix, these can both attack and defend. Bischu doesn't really have to make that tough choice. Looks like the admin has eventually decided that the speed is also wrong, but you know what? Micro is micro, and we're going to see it happen a little bit slower.
It's called Starbow mode. It's just a little slower.
Yeah, it's a little bit gentler. But also with the taking of this gold expansion, Bischu, who cut all the gateway production early on, is now going to be able to go all the way back up to 10 very, very, very fast.
That he absolutely will. And here's the engagement coming in, and HeRoMaRinE does not want to fight here, I don't think. Sounds like a particularly bad idea with that many Colossus out.
Looks like HeRoMaRinE is doing some good work repelling things. The Vikings haven't really sprung out yet, but HeRoMaRinE's beginning to add them on. He's just gently shoving things back.
Absolutely doing the job in the center of the map right there. TLO confirms, by the way, it's running slow. It looks like it may be a game heart problem. But the stopwatch is running faster. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, that's what I was looking at initially. I thought, let's have a look at the stopwatch and see what speed it's going at, but yeah. Oh well. It looks like we've elected just to play the rest of the game out.
Oh my god, Carrie is trying to bury the controversy.
No, if both the players want to keep playing, I don't see why not. It's only slightly slower. I don't see the harm in it. If it was twice the speed, then we might have a problem.
Sure, yeah.
Oracle getting shut down there very, very easily. Ran right into a pack of Vikings, so that wasn't going to work out for Bischu whatsoever.
HeRoMaRinE's doing a great job of striking this timing right before charge is done. And the gold is finished, which means that soon enough there's going to be plenty of Zealots coming on down. But not for like another minute or so. So this is a really big opportunity for HeRoMaRinE.
I think so, yeah. Charge is not done yet. Archons are on the way. There's no Storm. So he has enough Vikings to shut the Colossus count down, even with those Phoenixes. And actually, the target fire is very, very good here coming out of HeRoMaRinE. But he is running into a choke point against Colossus beams. Doesn't really work out too well. He needs to get up that ramp, and he's trying to do that. It's a time stop on the ramp as well.
Wow. Just an insane control by HeRoMaRinE, picking off all the Colossus, then going through the Phoenixes. There were just way too many Vikings. GG. And look at that! Killing Bischu right before the Zealot speed finishes. I mean, that's a magnificent timing from HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, it worked out really well. I mean, his first timing looked pretty good, but it did get shut down by the placement of the Phoenix there, which, again, seemed to be something counter to what HeRoMaRinE generally does, so I think Bischu had some inside knowledge there. But that game, well, And that was just, the second timing was absolutely brutally, it just completely flattened the opponent.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the HeRoMaRinE that's been impressing everyone as of late.
Yeah.
Having really solid builds, really solid mechanics, very solid timing. And, I will say that at its core, StarCraft 2 is a timing-based game. The fact is that, you can't make an immortal do that much more than just attack. You can't micro it so well that it kills 50 things. It pretty much just shoots. Same way with a lot of the units in StarCraft 2. So as a result, getting the correct timing is really what matters. Being able to strike your opponent when he doesn't have that key unit or that key upgrade. And it's very hard to do consistently. And we see HeRoMaRinE in a very unusual game that opened up double Oracle when he went for like a non-3 racks build. Still hitting that timing is just so amazing.
Worked out pretty well for him. And I don't think the speed really made a huge difference in that game. It was going to play out one way or the other. If anything, it would have made things a little easier for the Protoss player to actually control. But that didn't seem to work out with the Oracles there. And then it was just big army versus big army. Maybe it made it a little bit easier to target those Colossus down, but it works both ways. So they seem to be happy with the result.
I mean, Germany leads strong, based upon the player that everyone's saying is the strong player.
Yeah.
Things are to be expected, and I'm a little surprised to see MorroW going to be the third player to come out. I do think that, even though I like MorroW as a player, I don't think he can take out all 3 German players.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is a pretty ugly spot to be in. I think there's the very real possibility of an all-kill at this point. HeRoMaRinE is really strong right now. If he, beating down both Zanster and Bischu, I think will most likely result in an all-kill. I don't think MorroW is up to the task of taking on someone as good as HeRoMaRinE right now. But I could be wrong, and Sweden certainly hopes that I am.
Well, in terms of the sort of recent developments with mech, I'm recalling an ancient time, long ago, when the pyramids were being built and
when your mother was in her 40s.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
No way, man. Keep going. Way long ago, during the creation of the universe, when your mother was just falling out of her prime. Yeah, I mean, way back when the beta came out, MorroW was known for playing more games than anyone else.
Yep.
And meching like crazy. And mech has just recently had a big resurgence in the Pro League with the amazing Don't Attack mech. Hey, look, I'm going to build a wall of buildings and then not die. I mean, to stop joking about it and be serious, it's the style of relying heavily on the planetary fortress as a defensive tool, and then using sensor towers and siege tanks. Basically all these static, ultra-powerful defense for Terran to buy time until you can amass a big sky army of Ravens and battlecruisers. And eventually, you replace all your SCVs with mules so you can have even more supply. And this whole process takes about 45 minutes, and you don't ever need to attack. Ever. You just defend and expand.
Funnily enough, it's something that Goody has been doing for years, and now is only recently coming back into popularity.
Yeah, and he's just like, no, that's my thing, man. No.
I don't think he minds. Goody seems like one of the most chilled out people known to man. I think he'd be okay with pretty much anything.
I know. He's just kind until he can say, I told you so. I told you mech was a thing.
And it is. It certainly is. Well, that was game 2, which means there is a scheduled break now. And those guys over there no doubt want to make sure their computers are working. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at potentially the final game of Sweden versus Germany, with HeRoMaRinE taking the lead 2-0. You're watching The Nation Wars, brought to you by O Gaming. Don't go anywhere.
Of hunting and of war.
So, Sean, do you enjoy a cup of Nord mead from time to time?
Dude, I never don't not have Nord mead.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And we are going on to Frost, which is a very appropriate map, considering that. There we go. The grim frozen north of Skyrim will be the next venue for today's encounter by the looks of it. A Skyrim-themed map, I would really enjoy that.
I would even enjoy if there were like little quests you could do in the middle of it, each of which took 2.5 to 3 hours.
Sounds like an average Warcraft 3 map there, but that would work out, I think. That would be a lot of fun. The occasional dragon that would come along. Just roast your entire army.
Oh, that would be so dope.
You know what would happen as well? When you won the
that?
game, no one would recognize your achievement. I love you, Bethesda.
Oh my god, that's so subtle. That's amazing. Wow. Well, it looks like we're going to be in a Terran versus Terran.
Yes, we are. MorroW coming in right here. The rather unfortunate mistake with the game speed. We have, of course, confirmed that it was running on fast, not faster. It appears to be an issue with resume of game heart by the looks of it. At least that's what we're hearing from the admin. It was a little puzzling that they didn't decide just to restart the game, though, I've got to say.
Yeah, so it does mean that HeRoMaRinE now leads 2-0.
Going to see a 12-12 build here from MorroW, so opening up with that gas, so they didn't get his Reaper out. But HeRoMaRinE, in fact, is not taking gas at all.
Gosh, HeRoMaRinE has been going for 1 racks, no gas, in almost every game, and finally, yeah, that's so awesome. He's actually throwing down a refinery. I don't know why I find it awesome, but I just feel good, TotalBiscuit. He's going to be going... Yeah.
15 refinery, that's pretty late.
Yeah, well, it's this cute timing that allows you to get a command center and a factory at just a nice little clip. So we're going to see him almost certainly go for an expansion with a reactor barracks, a factory, and a starport.
All right. Well, let's see how that one ends up going out for him. Reaper's on the way here for MorroW. He's going to be scouting. He's actually going to get a little bit lucky. He's going to find the opponent's base first, so the Reaper will actually go in the right direction. It might get something done, but there is 1 Marine out already. There will be a 2nd Marine out by the time that the Reaper arrives. In fact, it hasn't even popped out yet, so you might even see a 3rd.
Yeah, MorroW, I think, is doing one of the more expected things on a map this large, where you want to be able to control the space. He's just going to go straight for the Reaper and get a little bit of control in that regard. MorroW is one of the MorroW is one of the players who tends to play very long, slow, deliberate games. We see HeRoMaRinE again going right for that reactor for the command center. He's going to have just enough gas to get a very slick little factory timing. And ooh, MorroW's going to scout everything.
Yep, he is going to be able to see absolutely everything he wants to see. There's even a 2nd Reaper on the way. He's got to watch out for his control, though. HeRoMaRinE doing a lot of damage there to that Reaper. It's going to have to pull back. There is, however, a 2nd Reaper on the map, and it's actually heading in that direction. So I wouldn't say it's a little bit of a risk, but the reactor is now done, so Marines are coming out 2 at a time. It's unlikely those Reapers are going to get that much done, but we will see.
And I like this. HeRoMaRinE's doing probably the safest, most standard opening possible. MorroW is doing close to the most standard, safest build possible. Both are just going to be relying on Marines, tanks, and of course the air units for safety. And MorroW doing some nice harass. A little bit unusual to see this sort of harass go so well.
Well, MorroW was the original king of the Reapers, so I guess it's to be expected. However, the question is, how much more will that do? Probably not too much. There's a good amount of Marines out, 6. HeRoMaRinE moves his Marines closer to the mineral line to make sure that that doesn't end up happening again. However, the opening for the Reapers to scout again. I mean, this is fantastic. Seeing the starport timing, even actually going to delay the starport. Very nice pickoff.
Yeah, MorroW's playing excellently. And I mean, look at the production tab. They're functionally lined up. I mean, we have the starports coming out at the same time. They both have a reactor. They both have a command center. But command center for HeRoMaRinE on the high ground. Number of SCVs lost. More for HeRoMaRinE. They're both even going for Hellions, which generally indicates kind of a hinting towards a metal opening. And it looks like MorroW is going to be going for the most mobile mix. The reactor factory, reactor starport, it's going to be Viking Hellion.
Alright, well, MorroW's on the way up here. Already got his Hellions in the mix, and a good number of them, too, to be backed up by the Reapers, which is fantastic, because that allows them to pursue those Hellions around the place, get a good couple of shots off. However, HeRoMaRinE with the nice flank, able to take out one he gets the Reaper as well. Okay, reinforcements come in, allowing for a little bit of a counter push there by MorroW, but for the most part, that aggression has been shut down, and the expansion secured here for HeRoMaRinE.
Now, HeRoMaRinE has a variety of options at this point. It looks like he's choosing the more basic ground aggression variant, where he has a little bit of Hellions on the ground, he has the medevac with the Marines, and he can do the push, but MorroW's opening is a direct answer to this. I do think HeRoMaRinE might suffer catastrophic losses right now. I mean, this is a super mobile army for MorroW that's meant to deal with aggression.
Yeah, and this Viking count is going to make the drops very, very difficult. HeRoMaRinE moves in. MorroW will see the drop ship. However, he's not actually going to use it to drop. He's just using it to bring the Marines in a little bit closer to accelerate the rate of this attack, and it may very well have done the job. He's already done significant damage with this. The push continues straight into the mineral line. MorroW getting backed into a corner. Vikings even landing here.
Now, the Vikings landing are part of the normal build. This is good news for MorroW to be able to hold this off. But man, HeRoMaRinE's control was exceptional, and he is just roasting the front lines. This shouldn't happen this way. This is an incredible credit to HeRoMaRinE's control.
Very nice. He does go off with that last shot didn't go the way that it should have. It actually hit the supply depot, which is not what he was looking for there, but he's already done damage. 11 workers have been killed. That's significant, especially in a mirror matchup. This little attack worked out pretty well. If we look at the resources lost, it's actually more for MorroW. He's lost more stuff in general.
Yeah, I mean, those Vikings, one of the reasons why this Hellion Viking mix works is because it's fast and efficient in small numbers if the Vikings land on the ground. The Vikings being on the ground are a pretty critical piece to defending in those Hellion versus Hellion bouts. And, I mean, HeRoMaRinE identified that, went in, and just roasted everything before the Vikings could touch.
Impressive stuff, really, from HeRoMaRinE up to this point. MorroW actually landing his barracks right there, which is a kind of a neat trick. It does limit the access to the ramp there. MorroW going in, but he's a little bit outnumbered. He gets the Vikings up to the front there to tank some of the Hellion shots. It's a little bit better, and MorroW looking for the angle. He gets it, but at what cost?
Wow.
It looks like he's going to end up losing these units eventually. There are reinforcements coming in, so there's not enough here from MorroW to finish this.
I mean, I can't really tell who came out ahead or behind in that fight. I mean, MorroW is going to lose the barracks. The most important thing is the fact that HeRoMaRinE has his factories down, and he's going to be able to build Hellions 4 at a time. I mean, I really feel like we're seeing HeRoMaRinE spiral out of control with a quick 3-0 for Team Germany.
It's looking pretty good. MorroW is building 2 of his own factories, however, behind this. HeRoMaRinE, not exactly with the best angle there. He was just catching the Viking on the tip, but it didn't really matter. He's got the numbers to make that work. So he pushes that back once again. If we look at the units lost tab, what we see is 16 Hellions killed for MorroW. Only 13, lost for MorroW. Only 13 lost there for HeRoMaRinE. We've got less Vikings lost for HeRoMaRinE, less SCVs lost for HeRoMaRinE. In general, things are looking pretty good for him.
I mean, this is just fantastic play, just start to finish. MorroW now has to land all of his Vikings. He can't afford to have them in the skies. He's going for mines, which seem kind of like an unusual choice, but I think it's the absolute correct move when he's feeling behind as he is now. He wants to try to bait in and get a huge shot off. He won't be able to deal damage with the mines in an offense fashion, so he's hoping to just pick up a gigantic hit on the defense.
Well, let's see if he can make that work. It's a good game changer, potentially. You know, if he does get a good hit, then he can very much turn this around. He's certainly not out yet, but he is definitely behind. We've got Infernal Pre-Igniter setting up for both, but HeRoMaRinE has a 35-second lead on that, which could give him a really nice timing. We've seen that HeRoMaRinE has been very capable of hitting those really great timings in the past, so I'm a little concerned that MorroW will be caught off guard by that.
Well, it's all about what they're going to be producing for the next period of time, because in HeRoMaRinE's eyes, he's thinking, well, you know, I probably should begin transitioning to tanks pretty soon, and if he transitions too quickly, he might lose in these Hellion versus Hellion bouts. MorroW's trying to bait into those Widow Mines. MorroW's looking for a chance to get the wrong units for his opponent in the right situation for him. Yep. Mines on Hellions, or to have too many tanks in the wrong spot, or even here, look at this, MorroW sending in the Vikings.
And he gets the better end of that trade, which is very, very nice. Here comes the land forced there. And as you can see, missiles during the landing sequence don't actually do any damage, which is a really strange thing to watch. But MorroW actually gets full scout with this as well, which is absolutely wonderful. A Thor is on the way out here for HeRoMaRinE, and In fact, HeRoMaRinE has pulled back a lot of his units.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice play for MorroW to buy time. I mean, there's a couple ways for MorroW to try to get an edge. One is to go only Hellion and hope that HeRoMaRinE makes a huge misplay with his own Hellions, and then he can punish it in that regard. But MorroW is known to be a very long-term focused player, and we see that coming forth here, that he is essentially going Viking, tank, and that is it. He is just trying to mass up as much defense as he possibly can.
Yes, he is, and he's still getting fantastic scouting information. He has full air superiority at the moment, although he might end up losing that once the Thor comes out in the field, and a couple of extra Vikings come out for HeRoMaRinE. MorroW did manage to get his Infernal Pre-Igniter up, and there was a potential timing there for HeRoMaRinE, but he didn't get to exploit it, which is really nice for MorroW, very much puts him back in the game. Still a little bit behind, especially considering the... Actually, never mind, MorroW's already established his third, so he's not as behind as he looked in the first place. He's doing a good job of getting back into this.
Oh my god, this is a gift from God for MorroW right now.
Oh yeah, sieging up on the third, good lord.
I mean, and not only is he getting to siege up on the third, but he got the chance to attack it right as HeRoMaRinE was attacking. HeRoMaRinE has to annihilate this force. He can't just win now.
Going for it, certainly. He doesn't want to lose that command center. He's crushing forward right now with the tanks. He's taking a lot of fire, but the Hellbats are at the front, absorbing the majority of the tank shots. And MorroW's army gets crushed pretty handily here. And it looks like he's even going to be able to save the command center. So that puts HeRoMaRinE in a much better spot yet again.
You know, I do think, though, that HeRoMaRinE broke through that army with a lot of damage being sustained. So we're looking at the supply counts. It's about a 20 supply difference. The tank lead does go to HeRoMaRinE, and if MorroW can hold this attack and get another set of good blasts, I do think that we're going to see MorroW begin to even things up a bit.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It was a little difficult to see, but slightly more tanks were lost there by MorroW in that attack, and most of the losses for HeRoMaRinE were actually in Hellbats, which are very cheap and very easy to replace. And HeRoMaRinE barrels through once again, sieges up, but the Viking land behind it, it doesn't matter. GG. HeRoMaRinE buries Sweden completely with a 3-0 all-kill.
I mean, HeRoMaRinE looked so good in that last game. Being able to pull back, having missed that initial attack, losing his third for a little bit of mining time, and then knowing when and how to strike back is very difficult. Most players' tendency after they lose their third is to play a little more slow, do a little bit more of a cautious approach, because, I mean, they've already seen their opponent set up a counterattack. They already know their opponent wants to be doing as much attacking as possible. But then for HeRoMaRinE to just rush up there and burst through efficiently is very impressive.
Yeah. HeRoMaRinE in general is just very impressive, in my honest opinion. I think it was the right choice to send him out first. He had the best shot of the all-kill, and he took it out. Very, very demoralizing, I think, for other players and other teams to look at that. Very similar to what happened yesterday with Spain, where Titan all-killed the Spanish lineup very handily indeed. However, I think that looking at the lineup, people would expect Sweden to fall less easily. Very much a case that Spain was being carried by Vortex, and the other two players were relatively unknown. Admittedly, we did see both Majestic and Alastor do a good job yesterday in the losers match, but regardless, that was a crushing defeat for Sweden. That is not a good start for them.
And the fortunate, unfortunate situation with Germany crushing Sweden 3-0 is that now we get to see France versus Ukraine. I am a glass half full kind of guy. Oh, yeah. for sure. I mean, I would definitely want to see what the French team's going to be able to pull off with Downfall, and then the two powerhouses, Todd and Daishi.
Yeah, I agree. I am looking forward to that immensely. It's an interesting match because on paper, it seems like it goes to the Ukraine, but I have a feeling that it's a little closer than people believe. So we may very well see a Norway situation like yesterday where France actually really does come through and takes out a powerhouse team on their own, as they did, in fact, not once, but twice against Poland.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of potential here. Ukraine, I still want to say they have the strongest lineup, but that's only because I didn't see HeRoMaRinE's form until now. Right? Like, I originally said that Ukraine had the strongest lineup, but probably you have to give it to Germany given the way that HeRoMaRinE played in those games. It wasn't just a 3-0. It was an incredibly solid, clean 3-0. Just beautiful play. But even with HeRoMaRinE being that good, a Bly-Demaga Koss lineup is a sick lineup.
Yeah, I think so. Oh dear. That was crushing there for Sweden, I've got to say. That does not put them in a great spot. Obviously, that means they go down to the losers bracket. This is a dual tournament format, so very much like the GSL, only with teams this time around, and best of fives.
Yeah, so that means that sitting in the winners bracket right now is going to be Germany, awaiting the winner of France versus Ukraine. Whoever wins that advances to the playoffs, advances to the final rounds. And of course, the loser of last match, Sweden, will be facing the loser of this upcoming match for elimination.
Yeah, they will. And that's not a good spot to be in. It's a hard road. Even if you win that, you've got to win another best of 5 in order to get through. And that could be against any of a bunch of very, very strong teams. However, for Germany, that means they get through to the winners' final, so they only have to win one more in order to advance to the playoffs tomorrow, where they will face off against another team, of course, from this group, and also Norway and Russia that came through from day one. But like I said, the next match is going to be France versus the Ukraine. Hopefully, it will start relatively soon. We're going to try and keep the downtime to a bare minimum. There's not much control that we actually have on that, so just bear that in mind. We're very much following the O Gaming stream at this point, but I will keep you posted as to what exactly is going on. We're going to go to a short break. Please do enjoy the music, and we will be right back very shortly. The lobby is already up, so we will not be gone long.